Dead time now, let's listen.
Story 1: The Haunted Library. The silence was crushing. Every step I took echoed louder than the last. Deep inside the library's forgotten corridors, I felt eyes watching me. I should have turned back, but I didn't. I wasn't here for fun. The library belonged to my late uncle, left abandoned after a fire shut it down years ago. I was told to clear it out, sell the land. Easy job, right? 15 minutes and I heard it, a soft whisper. Not like a draft or creak, words, low and urgent. Like someone was trying to speak just out of earshot. The index drawers were open, papers scattered everywhere. One paper sat perfectly in the middle of the floor. I picked it up. My name was written on it in red ink. The flashlight flickered. Then the room lights dead for years blinked once, twice, then dark again. I froze. Someone was playing with me. I didn't even know the library had a basement. But behind the archive shelves, a door stood slightly ajar. Stairs led into pitch black. I don't know why, but I went down. As I descended, I felt it behind me. Not close, just enough to make the back of my neck itch. I turned, no one, but I swear I heard breathing. At the bottom, a steel door, locked, but from the inside. There were scratch marks around the frame, and bloody fingerprints on the handle, fresh. They came again, whispers louder this time. Not one voice, dozens, chanting, but the words made no sense. Backwards, distorted, like something speaking through water. It moved between the bookshelves. Thin, pale, long arms, no face. It didn't walk, it slid. I backed away, but the books began flying off the shelves one by one.
I found a leather journal on a burned desk, my uncle's handwriting. He wrote about an entity that entered the library through a forbidden book, one that could never be destroyed.
I found it, wrapped in chains, buried behind bricks. As soon as I touched it, the air turned ice cold. A voice whispered directly into my ear. You opened it, it's yours now. I ran, but the entrance was gone. The door I came through, replaced with a wall of books. I screamed and the library screamed back. I felt it enter me, not like a ghost, more like a parasite. It didn't want my body. It wanted my memories, my soul, my voice. If you're hearing this, maybe I got out, maybe not. But the next time you walk past a library and feel like something is watching you from the shelves, don't turn around. That's how it sees you. If you want to hear more true encounters like this, subscribe. I'm not done telling my story, not yet. Story 2, The Haunting of My Grandparents' House. My grandparents' house sat at the edge of a quiet forest, the kind of place that looked timeless and heavy with secrets. I used to love it as a child until the day everything changed. The first time I felt it, I was 11. I walked past the basement door and suddenly froze. No breeze, no draft, just a deep, ice-cold chill that soaked into my bones. At night, I'd hear soft whispers in the hallway, like someone pacing, talking to themselves. But every time I opened, the door silence. One night, I asked Grandma about the noises. She looked at me, pale and serious, and said, "Don't ever open the attic door at night." Couldn't move, couldn't scream. Something was standing at the foot of my bed, whispering. It leaned closer. I blacked out. Not even if you hear someone calling your name. I was brushing my teeth when I saw it behind me in the mirror. A dark shape, still watching. I turned fast. Nothing there, but the mirror was fogged with a handprint. A week later, I woke up paralyzed. Couldn't move, couldn't scream. Something was standing at the foot of my bed, whispering. It leaned closer. I blacked out. I tried to open the attic in daylight. It was locked with a rusted chain. I asked Grandpa. He said, that door hasn't he opened since before you were born, and it has gone nasty that way. Every night, the same cold spot appeared at the center of the hallway. Even in the middle of summer, it smelled like old wood and smoke. Now, it wasn't just whispers. It was voices, angry, clear. They said things like, get out, and he's watching. I stopped sleeping. I found an old box in Grandma's closet. Letters, journals. She had seen it too. She called it the one in the attic. She believed it was feeding off fear, and it liked children. It was storming. The attic door slammed open. I didn't go to it. It came to me. I heard it crawling across the ceiling. Then it dropped into the hallway. I saw it. No eyes, just a long mouth stretching across its face. It whispered my name, my real name, one I'd never told anyone at that house.
Grandpa burst in, yelling prayers. The thing screeched, then vanished. The attic door slammed shut. And we left the house that same night. They never sold the house. It still sits there, boarded up, empty. But sometimes people hear things from the road, whispers, or see a light in the attic. I used to think ghosts were just stories, but that house changed me. If you ever feel something cold, something watching you, don't ignore it. That's how it starts.
Story 3, The Haunted Mirror in My Home. I never thought a mirror could hold something sinister. It sat quietly on the wall in my bedroom, ordinary, clean, nothing unusual. But looking back, that mirror was never just a mirror. One night, as I passed by it half asleep, I noticed something strange. My reflection wasn't in sync. I moved, but the figure in the mirror hesitated, just for a split second. A few days later, I woke up to a faint whispering sound. It was 3:12 a.m. The sound wasn't coming from the hallway, it was coming from inside the mirror. That morning, I saw a handprint on the inside of the glass, small, faint, but clearly pressed against the surface like someone had tried to get out. I started to feel watched, not just looked and watched. Whenever I stood in front of the mirror, I could feel eyes following me even when I wasn't facing it. One night, I turned away from the mirror, but caught a glimpse in the corner of my eye. My reflection was still facing forward, staring right at me. As I brushed my teeth one evening, a shadow appeared behind me in the mirror. I turned around instantly. Nothing. I looked back, the shadow was gone. I once stood in front of it for what felt like 2 minutes. When I snapped out of it, the clock had jumped 45 minutes forward. I don't remember blinking.
That night, I dreamt of a pale woman with hollow eyes crawling out of the mirror toward me. I woke up sweating only to find a strand of long black hair on my pillow.
I tried moving the mirror to the attic, but that night it appeared back on my bedroom wall, hanging perfectly, like it had never been touched. I dug into its past. Turns out, the mirror had been donated to a thrift store by a family whose daughter vanished right in front of it. I set up my phone to record overnight. The footage. At 2:43 a.m., my sleeping body sat up and stared straight into the mirror for 5 full minutes. I tried smashing it. The glass cracked but didn't break. And in the fractured shards, I saw dozens of faces screaming silently, trapped behind the glass. I moved out a week later. Left the mirror behind. But some nights I still dream of it. And I wake up staring at the empty wall where it once hung. Next time you look into a mirror, watch closely. If your reflection ever blinks after you do wrong, and don't look back. Story for my haunted road trip, 3 spine-chilling encounters. Have you ever felt like you were being watched on a road trip? What about a feeling of dread that you can't shake? In this video, I share 3 chilling encounters from my recent road trip that left me questioning everything. It all started with a plan a solo road trip through some of America's most mysterious towns. I've always been drawn to the unexplained, chasing stories of haunted places. But nothing could have prepared me for what I was about to experience. The first night, I took a detour through a narrow, unlit road in rural Pennsylvania. The GPS lagged. The trees seemed to press in on both sides. That's when I saw the old diner glowing in the distance, its neon sign flickering like it hadn't been touched in decades. I stopped for coffee. No one else was there. The waitress looked off. Her smile was too wide. I heard whispers behind me, soft, urgent, but when I turned, the place was empty. Then footsteps, slow, deliberate, but no one came out of the kitchen. I bolted without finishing my drink. As I drove away, I looked in the rearview mirror. The lights in the diner blinked out one by one, and then a shadow walked past the window, tall, thin, staring straight at me. I couldn't bring myself to check into a motel that night. I slept in my car at a gas station an hour away, engine running, doors locked. Still, I felt like something followed me, like it hadn't stayed in the diner. The next morning, I tried to laugh it off, but I couldn't shake the unease. My next stop was a small graveyard in Ohio, supposedly haunted by a Civil War soldier. I thought I'd just visit, maybe get some photos, just a story to tell later. I arrived just after midnight. The air was ice cold and fog rolled low along the ground. I walked between the headstones with only my flashlight. Then I heard a voice, raspy, whispering my name. There, at the far edge of the cemetery, stood a figure, faded, transparent, dressed in a torn Union uniform. He didn't move, just stared, and as I backed away, the name on the closest headstone lit up in the moonlight, my last name. There, at the far edge of the cemetery, stood a figure, faded, transparent, dressed in a torn Union uniform. He didn't move, just stared, and as I backed away, the name on the closest headstone lit up in the moonlight, my last name. I didn't even look back. I drove 4 hours through the night, running on caffeine and adrenaline. But every time I checked my mirror, I half expected to see that soldier sitting in the back seat. Around 3:12 a.m., I woke up to static. The TV was on. I never turned it on. My reflection in the mirror wasn't moving with me. It stared directly at me, even when I looked away, and then it smiled. I left everything behind: bag, keys, money. I ran out barefoot, drove with shaking hands. I could feel it pulling me back. Even now, that mirror, that room, it wanted to keep me. 3 encounters, 3 places, 1 terrifying thread. I was never alone. These weren't just ghost stories. These were warnings. Proof that something is out there watching. If you've ever felt that unseen presence on an empty road, or a chill that made no sense, maybe you've felt what I felt. Let me know in the comments if you've had a road trip from hell. And if you're brave enough, subscribe. There's more to uncover.